Everybody, happy Saturday. Hope everybody's doing good. A little bored, so I'm going to document another ancient America site. We are going down to Kentucky. This is right on the Mississippi River here. This is the Wickliffe Mounds site. But here, as we swing around, you notice this is up on a little perch. This is one of the highest areas around here, I guess. Good overview of the whole area. Let's go down and take a look. People researching here have been over here for 100 years. The site has been altered, but you get the idea of the mounds here. You swing around. There's a pretty good-sized mound right back here. What's left of it, at least. Here is the site today on top of the mound here. And they do have a little diagram of what this place used to look like. Plaza. Looks like at least 5 mounds here. I think there are some smaller ones nearby that disappeared long ago. A little history of this place. It says amateur and semi-professional excavations first began in the site around 1913 and continued sporadically for several decades. In 1932, Fane W. King, a lumberman, amateur archaeologist, and Indian artifact collector from Paducah, who was a member of the Board of Regents of the Alabama Museum of Natural History, paid the Alabama Museum of Archaeology to conduct excavations of the center portions of 3 mounds A, B, and C at the Wickliffe site, including the cemetery of the Mound C. Then later, in cooperation with his wife, Blanche Bussey King, he opened the site for tourists under the name Ancient Buried City. The King's venture was highly controversial because they used sensational and misleading advertising, altered the site to make it more visually appealing, and made dubious and exaggerated interpretations of the site. These actions put them directly in opposition to professional archaeologists who studied the site and did not want it disturbed. Ancient Origins did a story on the mounds here about 6 years ago. Here is a look from overhead. You can clearly see what remains of the mounds here today. It says in the article that the site was donated to Murray State University in 1983, and it kind of went from a sideshow attraction to a place where some pretty serious research was done. Here is some pottery that was found at the site here. Here is an effigy pipe. Not sure what that is made out of. Here is a sign at the site that was erected maybe 90 years ago about. It says, King Mounds, Ancient Buried City, site of an ancient religious and commercial center of the mound builder, approximately 1,000 years old, situated on the only high ground at the confluence of the Mississippi and Ohio rivers. Tombs, temples, altars, jewels, dwellings, tools, etc. were uncovered, and excavations started here on October 2nd, 1932, for education and posterity. If you went to this site earlier than the 1960s, I believe, this is what you would have seen, but these bodies have been reinterred. Here is a newspaper article from the Paducah Sun, Thursday, December 29th, 1988. Wickliffe Indian relics stolen. Authorities believe somebody who knew artifacts in their worst stole a prehistoric Indian effigy owl and 17 other artifacts from the Wickliffe Mounds Research Center. The missing items were 700 to 1,000 years old, said Kelly Lawson, assistant director of the mounds. The owl, actually a small water bottle, is the unofficial symbol of the research center, a property of Murray State University. Thieves apparently struck on 2 occasions, Lawson said. Ballard Deputy Sheriff Bill Copeland said that police had no suspects. Here is a website with all the stolen items here from the museum. Here is the owl bottle effigy water container there. But bottles, bowls, jars, clay pots were all stolen. Here's a look at them here. I'll leave this link below. There is a park here, Museum Interpretation Center. Maybe some of you have been here. It says this place got going around 1000 AD. It says open to the public since 1932. The museum exhibits excavated features with displays of Mississippian pottery, stone tools, artifacts, and artwork showcasing their way of life and the archaeological history of Native American tribes in Kentucky. Visitors have a spectacular view of the bluff area on top of the ceremonial mound, the largest mound on the site. Special exhibits, hands-on displays, events, demonstrations, and educational programs occur at various times throughout the year. And there's a little look at some of the sites from around the park here. Here's a diagram of some post holes here with radiocarbon dating going back about 900 years. Here is a painted floor, painted clay floor, a red circle with what they say is a spread out arm cross sign here in the middle. Here's a piece of pottery they found, and studying this, they connected it to the famous Cahokia Mounds in Illinois. Here's another piece of pottery found at the site. Here's a rather strange piece of pottery at the site. What does that represent with the hole on the side there? Here's an owl effigy, and some of the stuff here are reproductions, I believe, because they were stolen here. I talked about that earlier. Here it says some are reproductions. Here's a small owl effigy, and why the owl? Well, birds and the afterlife are connected. This is a burial mound. And also, owls are birds of the night. The night's connected with the dead and the underworld, so that's why the owl symbolism here, probably. There's a lot of turtle shells and deer bones found at the site, as well as other animals. That's more ancient America coming from Kentucky here. My continued attempt to document as many of these mound sites as I can. Some interesting artifacts. All of these sites were treated differently way back in time and even today. That has a unique history to it. Right along the Mississippi from Minnesota down to Louisiana. In ancient times was lined with these mound cities. Hope you thought that was interesting. You all have. Very safe day.